Hello students, welcome back. Today we are going to start the civil disobedience movement. So the Swaraj party, that the party that was formed, so in that many political leaders suggested the idea of fighting the Britishers from within the legislative council. Okay, so they thought that since the last Khilafat movement and everything failed, so now we'll form a Swaraj party, and in this the legislative council only will fight against the Britishers. So C.R. Das and Motilal Nehru formed Swaraj party in 1922, and leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Subhash Chandra Bose pressed for a more radical agitation. Means जो भी अभी तक हो रहा था, so in a more agitated, in a more thrill way, so that it will make a long lasting impact. So what were the reasons for the civil disobedience movement? What led to it? First was the Simon Commission of 1927, and the next was the Great Economic Depression. So we'll start with the Simon Commission. So Simon Commission, the Indian members of the Central Legislative Assembly exposed some drawbacks in the Government of India Act of 1919. So what does this Britishers used to do whenever there is some movement kind of a thing? They used to pass some Indian acts, okay, in which they give some rights to the Indians, and then so that the Indians calm down and they don't fight for their rights anymore. So there were so many drawbacks in the last act that they have passed it. They have proposed in 1919. So as a result of it, the Simon Commission was appointed in 1927 to suggest some further reforms. So since people were not satisfied with the India Act of 1919, so in 1927 this Simon Commission was appointed to suggest any reforms in the act. So this commission was consisted of 7 members, and the chairman was Sir John Simon. So this was known as Simon Commission, and Indian boycotted it as there were no Indian members in it. And since the 7 members does not include any Indian member, so Indians boycotted this commission and they didn't went to it. Moreover, there was no indication of Swaraj, which was the first priority of Indians. Also, this commission was formed in order to resolve the problem of the Swaraj, that people will do their own work, they will wear their own clothes. So there was no such clause in that which indicates the Swaraj. And with this commission arrived in 1928, it was met with the demonstration of banners, and such demonstration that Simon Go Back was introduced. Now another cause was the Great Depression that hit in 1930, and there was huge poverty in 1930 due to high taxes, and there was no proper industrial goods. All these things led to this civil disobedience movement. So what actually was civil disobedience movement? Civil disobedience is the active professed refusal to obey certain laws, demands and commands of a government or of an occupying international power. Civil disobedience is a symbolic or ritualistic violation of the law rather than a rejection of the system as a whole. So people have decided that whatever laws are made, whatever demands the company or the government, the British government is asking, they will not follow that. They will reject that. And instead of rejecting the entire system, that we don't Britishers in the country, they were just rejecting, they refused to follow the laws. Whatever laws they have made, whatever demands they were expecting. So they just opposed the commands of the government, they opposed the laws of the government. So they started violating the laws in civil disobedience movement. So the first one was the Salt March, which we commonly known as Dandi March. So Mahatma Gandhi believed that salt could be a powerful symbol to unite the whole nation. Most of the people, including the British, scoffed at the idea. So there was this tax imposed by Viceroy Irwin for the salt. So abolition of the salt tax was among many demands which were raised by Gandhiji through a letter to Viceroy Irwin. And the Salt March or Dandi March was started by Gandhiji on 12th March 1930, because salt is a necessity good. We can't eat food without salt, right? Salt is a, it's not a demand, it's not a luxury good, it is a needy good, we need it. So it is wrong to impose any kind of tax on this salt. Hence The Salt March started by Gandhiji and it got huge support from the people all over the country. Then he was accompanied by 78 volunteers. They walked for 28 days to discover a distance of 240 miles from Sabarmati to Dandi. So from Sabarmati it started till Dandi, and many more joined in them in the way. So on 6th April 1930, Gandhiji ceremonially violated the salt by taking a fistful of salt. So we cannot have this salt without anybody's permission. So in Dandi March, what did they do? They went till Dandi from Sabarmati and Gandhiji took a fistful, ek mutti mein salt, and it violated the law that was made by Irwin. The Salt March marked the beginning of the civil disobedience movement. So civil disobedience movement started with the Salt March or the Dandi March, which was for the abolition of the salt law. Means the taxes that were imposed on salt were abolished or were disrespected. Right. Then thousands of people broke the salt law in different parts of the country. People demonstrated in front of government salt factories. Foreign clothes was boycotted, peasants refused to pay revenue, village officials resigned, and tribal people violated forest law. So civil disobedience means what? You will not obey any law. So people all over the country, they started breaking this salt law. They were started demonstrating in front of the factories, salt factories, and no foreign cloth was weared. Then for these peasants refused that we will not pay any revenue, we will not pay any tax. Village officials also resigned, and the tribal people, those who were restricted in the forest area, they also violated the forest laws and did whatever they wanted to do. So hence this was how this civil disobedience movement was continuing. Next was how did the Britishers respond to it? The colonial government began to arrest the Congress leaders. This led to violent clashes between many places. Mahatma Gandhi was arrested about a month later. People began to attack the symbol of British rule such as police posts, municipal buildings, law courts and railway stations. Even women and children were beaten up. About 1 lakh people were arrested. So this was all Britishers could do. They could just arrest the Congress leaders or whomsoever they find that was initiating these civil disobedience movement. Then what happened? This round table conference happened. When things began to take a violent turn, Mahatma Gandhi called off the movement. He signed a pact with Irwin on 5th March 1931, and this was called the Gandhi-Irwin Pact. And in this pact, Gandhiji agreed to participate in the Round Table Conference in London. In lieu of that, the government agreed to release the political prisoners. Okay. So what happened? This Gandhiji just took off the movement civil disobedience because there was so much of violence happening. So he was agreed to go to London in the conference, and then political prisoners were released. So Gandhiji went to London in 1931 and the negotiations broke down and Gandhiji had to return with disappointment. So whatever they promised, they didn't followed, and Gandhiji was again very disappointed in the Round Table Conference. So when Gandhiji came back to India, he found that most of the leaders were put in jail. So Britishers agreed that okay, if Gandhiji will go there in the Round Table Conference, then leaders will be released, but it doesn't happen. Congress had been declared illegal. Many measures were taken to prevent meetings, demonstrations and boycotts. And finally, Mahatma Gandhi relaunched the civil disobedience movement, and by 1934, the movement has lost its momentum. So whatever was happening, but the movement also failed again. Then how did people see these movements? Perceptions of the people in the movement. How does farmers saw this? For farmers, the fight for Swaraj was a struggle against high revenues. When the movement was called off in 1931 without the revenue rates being revised, the farmers were highly disappointed. Many of them refused to participate when the movement was relaunched. So हर किसी के लिए मूवमेंट अलग था. फार्मर्स के लिए क्या था कि उनके टैक्सेस और रेवेन्यूज़ कम कर दिए जाएं, बट ऐसा कुछ हुआ नहीं इन द पैक्ट. सो दे रिफ्यूज टू पार्टिसिपेट कि जब हमारा कुछ हो नहीं रहा है देन वाई शुड बी पार्टिसिपेट, right? Then next, how did businessmen saw that? Businessmen, the Indian Industrial and Commercial Congress was formed in 1920 and the Federation of the Indian Chamber was and of Commerce and Industries was formed in 1927. So these commerce industries congress were formed, and these were the results of attempt to bring common business interest on a common platform for the businessmen. Swaraj meant to an oppressive colonial policies, and for businessmen, Swaraj meant an end to oppressive colonial policies. They wanted an environment in which they could be allowed to do the business which will flourish. So they were apprehensive of militant activities and of growing influence of socialism among the young members of the Congress. So for everybody, this movement was different. They wanted their monopoly on the Indian market. They didn't want it कि Britishers के according they should go for a rule. And there was socialism going on. Means people were thinking that wealth should not be accumulated in some hands. So they were also disappointed. Industrial workers, they showed lukewarm response to the civil disobedience movement. Lukewarm means neither they were on the side, neither they were opposing. So since industrialists were close to the Congress, workers kept a distance from the movement. But some workers selectively participated in the movement. Congress did not want to alienate the industrialists, as hence preferred to keep the workers' demands at bay. So since the workers and industrialists, they were not on one side, and the workers knew that industrialists are closer to Congress, so they made a difference that okay, we know that these Congress people will not fulfill our demands. The workers thought that their demands will not be fulfilled, so they kept a distance. They didn't participated in the movement wholeheartedly. And also Congress also did not pay so much of attention on their needs. They paid more attention to the industrialists, their demands, rather on the demands of the workers. So everybody has their own expectations from the civil disobedience movement. Okay, now the women participation, they also participated in the disobedience movement in large numbers. However, most of the women were from high caste families in the urban areas and from rich peasant households in the rural areas. But for a long time, the Congress was reluctant to give any position of authority to women within the organization. So the Congress was just keen on the symbolic presence of women. उनको पता था कि if women will be there, it will be good for them. But they didn't wanted to give any position कि okay, you are also fighting for this cause, or you are also participating, so you will also get a position in the assembly or whatever party they were having. So they didn't intended, these Congress people didn't intended to give them any position, but just wanted them कि इनका presence हो, so that there is a whole mob, there is so much of crowd which is opposing to the Britishers. So women were not respected a lot. Then what were the limits of this civil disobedience movement? First of all, the participation of the Dalits. Many Dalit leaders wanted a different political solution to the problems of Dalit community. They demanded reserved seats in educational institutes and separate electorate for Dalits. Dalit participation in the civil disobedience movement was limited. Dr. B.R. Ambedkar organized the Dalits into the Depressed Class Association in 1930. He clashed with Mahatma Gandhi during the Second Roundtable Conference on the issue of separate electorate for Dalits. So since Dalits were always oppressed, they were always seen with the down eyes, so they wanted separate reserved seats in education and separate electorate in the they want separate seats for their voting also. So they didn't participate, and B.R. Ambedkar organized everything for them so that there is electorate that is separate for the Dalits. Now the movement of participation of Muslims in the movement. And after the decline of the non-cooperation Khilafat movement, a large section of Muslims became alienated from the Congress. From the mid 1920s, the Congress was more visibly associated with the Hindu religious nationalist groups. So, Muhammad Ali Jinnah was an important leader of the Muslim League. He was willing to give up the demand for separate electorate, but he wanted reserved seats for Muslims in the Central Assembly. So, in the non-cooperation or Khilafat movement, Muslims have seen. So after this non-cooperation or Khilafat movement, Muslims made a distance with Congress because they have realized that they favor Hindus more. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah, who was the Muslim leader of this Muslim League, his demand for separate electorate was given up, that he doesn't want, but he wanted reserved seats for Muslims in the Central Assembly. So he was fighting for his own cause. So, whosoever participated in the movement, they had their own demands, they had their own expectations, and finally, everyone's demands could not be met. So, the civil disobedience also came to an end.